best gymnasts in the world are in Louisville right now getting ready to compete.
Yep, the USA Gymnastics Winter Cup flips into action today, and Jim Stratman and photojournalist Paul Landers are inside the convention center downtown for the final preps before those doors open. And Jim, you've been telling us about some big and some unfortunate news overnight about one of the athletes.
Yeah, very unfortunate news, Connie. We did get word that Gabby Douglas, who was supposed to be here and competing in the Winter Cup, is not going to be able to compete. This was after she announced her comeback to the sport after nearly 8 years away. Now, she took to Instagram last night and posted that she had tested positive for COVID-19, and she was crushed at the fact that she would not be able to compete in the Winter Cup as a result. Now, the 28-year-old was set to compete on the beam, the floor, and the vault. No official word yet on when her next gymnastics outing will be, but USA Gymnastics did respond to her post on Instagram and said, quote, "We'll see you again soon." Now, you may remember Douglas from back in 2012 when she became the first black woman to win the Olympic all-around gymnastics in London. And then she went on to help Team USA reach gold in Rio in 2016. Now her goal is to qualify and compete in this year's Paris Games coming up this summer. Suni Lee, who did compete for the U.S. in 2020, will be hitting the mat this weekend as well. She'll be here in Louisville. She is the reigning all-around champion. Lee is set to contest beam and bars at this weekend's Winter Cup, and according to the organization, she's likely to debut a new skill over on the bars. Flipping over to the men's side this weekend, there's excitement about the reigning Winter Cup champ, Yul Moldauer. He'll face some competition from fellow Olympians Shane Wiskus and Brody Malone, who is actually competing in his first premier event since being injured last year. So that's just a few of the more than 200 gymnasts that are going to be here in Louisville competing for the U.S. Winter Cup a little bit later on this weekend. Now, we are going to be speaking with some organizers coming up here in the 6 o'clock hour, talking a little bit more about what you can expect if you come out to enjoy the Winter Cup again here in Louisville starting this weekend. Connie, Grace?
All right, Jim, thank you. The U.S. Department of Justice is giving Louisville $2 million to combat gun violence in the Newberg neighborhood.
Yeah, the money will fund the Newberg Gun Violence Reduction Project. Now, that new program will allow the Office of Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods to open an interrupter site in Newberg. And these sites put advocates in the neighborhood to intervene in violence and mitigate conflicts. Leaders also hope to identify solutions specific to needs in Newberg.
However, what excites me most about this effort is that it reaffirms our commitment as an organization and as a city that any effort to address violence must be in partnership with our community partners, ensuring a fair, just, and equitable approach.
This will be a 3-year pilot project.
Indiana State Police seized nearly $20,000 worth of items from a Jeffersonville home owned by Jamie and Misty Knoll. Investigators say the former Clark County Sheriff bought the items with funds from the Utica Township Volunteer Firefighters Association. Now, according to a new search warrant and documents that were filed, Knoll used the business credit card to purchase several appliances for the historic mansion along the Ohio River. They included cooktops, an oven, and a French door refrigerator. Knoll is facing 25 felony charges, including theft, tax evasion, and official misconduct. His wife, Misty, is also charged with theft and tax evasion. Both have pleaded not guilty.
AT&T now says yesterday's service outage impacting thousands of people, including us here at WHAS11, started with a software update that went haywire. In a statement, the company said in part that the outage was caused by the application and execution of an incorrect process used as we were expanding our network, not a cyber attack. Reports of outages started coming in around 4 in the morning yesterday. At its height, AT&T says there were reports of more than 50,000 outages. The company says all customers had service again around 3 p.m. The outages also impacted local 911 dispatch centers like Louisville Metro Safe, which reported an influx of calls from people making sure they could get through. Mayor Craig Greenberg says there was a 30% spike in calls, and MetroSafe Assistant Director Trevin Hunter wants to let people know they do have backup systems if services are disrupted.
We're ready to deploy those at a moment's notice. We're also at a level 1 activation here in the Emergency Operations Center where we are, just monitoring the situation so that if something does expand with the outage, we are able to respond quickly.
Says the best way to know if there are any issues with local 911 services is to sign up for Lens Alerts.
Metro Police are asking you to stay alert as they continue to search for the person who attacked a 79-year-old woman. Police say earlier this month, the woman was stabbed to death inside her Fern Creek home. WHAS 11's Connor Steffen and photojournalist Elijah McKenzie have the details.
Oh, we got to do the QR code here.
We were installing my ringtone camera because of the uneasiness of the lady that I lost across the street.
Police identified that 79-year-old woman Thursday as Betty Collins. LMPD's homicide unit has opened a murder investigation into her death after determining someone stabbed her. Police say they discovered her body on February 12th.
I guess it was just like, wow, I can't believe this area, because we've never heard of it.
Oh, mercy. It's like, what in the world has happened?
Tammy Bronwyn has lived in the area for several years
We enjoy our neighbors. We have no fears of anything.
and says she knew Collins.
Oh, yes, I knew her. We all talked. She was just one of the old-fashioned ladies that was never afraid of nothing. It's just terribly, terribly awful.
Another friend of Collins, who was too afraid to speak with us on camera, said this of her late friend. Quote, "She was the nicest lady. You just don't expect anything like this. When it's someone you know, it's scary." Police are still searching for a suspect at this time.
That's low. Somebody that was minding their own business in their own place. It's horrible. It's got to stop.
In a statement, an LMPD spokesperson said the department, quote, "wants to advise the public that while we are aggressively pursuing the parties responsible for this heinous attack, there are some measures you can take to stay safe. Those are locking your homes and cars at all hours and reporting anything to police that poses a safety concern." In Fern Creek, Connor Steffen, WHAS 11, on your side.
If you have any information that could help police in this case, you can leave an anonymous tip by calling 574 LMPD or going to their online portal.